changes the end product the customer is not willing to pay for. Like I said, that time, they're not paying for that. So it was a waste, and like I said, we're fixing it, but there are a lot more wastes that go on that after learning a little bit about Lean, you'll be able to see them within any company you go to, which is why it's so beneficial. This is the value added matrix, and it's basically a matrix that just says if it's value added, we keep it. If there is no value added to it, we reduce it or we eliminate it entirely. Like I said, we're eliminating it now by changing how our 3P, which is changing how our machines are set up so that it can flow more efficiently. So we're eliminating how it was entirely, and we're reducing the time it takes to move the product. So we obviously, after some time and convincing, they realized how much wasn't being added to the product by having it be in separate areas. So the only, like I said, and stress, the only value that's added is when we put the part together. So anything else that's extra, it doesn't add any value to it. The customer isn't paying for it. And Lean is very customer driven. The customer is the only one who defines the value. So with us ourselves, we don't pay for anything that we pay for a phone. We pay for the phone itself. We don't pay for people to move it all over the plant. We don't pay for the problems that might go on with the phone before we get it. We don't pay for defective products. So customers support the suppliers who best meet their needs with additional business. Obviously, if you get something that's bad, you're not going to go back to that company. You might give them one chance, but if they keep doing it, you're not going to go back to them again. It's the same thing with big companies. If you give them a bad product, they're not going to go back to you for their business. And especially, as I said, in the global economy where we have a lot of different suppliers that companies can go to, it's a lot easier for people to find business in other places. So we have to make sure we keep our customers happy. And we do this by anything not adding value is waste. We don't want to put the cost of our product up, because if we do that, we can lose their business based off of pure money differences alone. So we want to make sure we're putting out a good product with good parts, but we want to make sure we're cutting down on our waste so that we don't add value to a product that isn't needed. So another example of this is, aside from the phone, would be like pizza. You're willing to pay for the dough, the toppings, but are you willing to pay for toppings that are dropped on the floor, the ovens, the vegetables that are thrown away, not good anymore, the workers that aren't working or getting the wrong thing? No, you're not willing to pay for some of those because it wastes your time, especially if it's not good. You're not going to go back to them. I mean, most people, if they have a bad experience, don't go back. So we have to think of it more, when we're doing Lean, we have to think of it from the customer's perspective. So as I said, the 7 wastes, which these are the wastes that I've been talking about. One is overproduction, then there's inventory, waiting, motion, transportation, rework, and overprocessing. So overproduction is basically production rate is sooner, faster, or in greater quantities than the absolute customer demand. So if the customer wants 10 and we make 20, then obviously they're not paying for those extra 10, we're just making them. And if they're not paying for it, then we're putting product out that isn't going to be used. We're using up our own inventory, we're wasting materials, we're wasting workers' time, we're wasting space within our plant to hold this material and hold these extra things. So it's a waste all over. It's not, you want to just produce what is needed, not any more, not any less. Inventory, as I said, is a waste, a huge waste. It's material beyond what is necessary to meet the immediate customer demand. It has a lot to do with the push-pull theory, and it lengthens the lead time, it ties up working capital, increases risk of, so it can go obsolete a lot quicker, depending on what the product is, obviously. There could be quality issues if we're keeping it in a space that it's not properly whatever needs to be done to keep it working. It could go obsolete, or it could break entirely. We need to keep space, so we have to pay for inventory space. and it also hides the problems that go on within our organization. And it hides the problems because, as you can see from the picture, when we have a lot of inventory, it's only working well, and we're only smooth sailing, as they call it, because it's so under the surface that we don't see it. It hides poor scheduling on the part of our planners. It hides the machines breaking down because we have enough product to keep running. It hides the line imbalance, so things not going through at the same time. It hides the transportation, the suppliers, people not being there, quality, long setup times. It basically, it hides everything that goes on in the plant. And so you would think, well, it's a good thing. We still have inventory. We can still make our customers happy. But at the same time, now you're having extra material that you don't need, but you're also not realizing the problems that are going on within your own plant. And if you don't realize the problems that are going on, you're wasting more money than you think you are. You might be keeping your customers happy, but at the same time, you're not opening your eyes to the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that when it comes down to it, you're spending more money than you need to on the problems. So you're not making as much profit as you think you are. When we have less inventory, it's a lot easier to see the problems. In my own experience, I've seen they've been cutting down on inventory for this exact reason, and because of it, you do see what the problems are. People not scheduling properly, the floor not being scheduled properly by the planners, and then the supervisors not scheduling the operators properly. You see that the vendor might not be delivering the way you want them to. There might be quality problems with the product that you're getting from a supplier, or quality problems within your own product that you didn't realize because you just made so much of it. And there could be long setup times, and there could be absenteeism, people not being there, so they're not putting a product out, but you have so much, doesn't matter. So when you have less inventory, you don't have this problem. So continuing on with that, it was a traditional theory that the more inventory we have, the better we are. But as you can see, even I was shocked when I first heard that, because everyone thinks inventory is a good thing. But and less inventory is risky, because what if you don't have enough? But when it comes down to it, you have extra defects, handling space in general, machining, paperwork, people, overhead, things you don't need to be spending money on. So motion is another waste, and it's just wasted, lost time, ergonomics, injuries, less efficient, less productivity, high fatigue, and extra cost. Now, this class specifically that we're taking is Human Factors Ergonomics, and ergonomics is a huge problem within our country specifically, and the reason that is because $1 in $4 that we spend within the United States, it goes to WMSDs, which are work-related muscular scoliosis diseases, and those basically, in layman's terms, are back injuries, lower back injuries, problems with reaching, problems that occur within a plant. So by moving something, not only are we risking breaking the product, which is bad, but we're also risking our operator getting hurt, and we're risking money that goes into that. And this is money that comes out of the American people's pocket. So when it comes down to it, by reducing the motion of our people, we're also making it safer, and we're making it a safer environment. Waiting, which is a simple one. It's we want there to be less waiting. No one wants to wait for anything. Our customers don't want to wait. We don't like waiting. We also don't want our operators to wait, because when they wait, then they're not doing anything. So we're spending money on people that aren't doing anything. They're not putting out products. So waiting is a waste of time and money. Transportation, which is just the movement of products. It adds cost. The more you move material, the more opportunity to damage. It requires more resources. Disconnects part of the value stream and higher inventory. So transportation, although we see it as being a value because you obviously have to have it paid to go to you, transportation, what they're referring about here is just transportation within the plant itself. Over-processing has a lot to do with wasted time and resources, added costs, needing extra effort. We don't want to perform an operation that's not needed. We do this when it comes to quality and assurance, because quality and assurance, even though they don't add value, they're important to our customers, because we don't want to send a product out that is bad, because when you do that, they are dissatisfied, will go to other people. So over-processing we do, but only to a point. Defects, as I said before, defects are a waste, because as with what happened this summer at our plant, rework costs a lot of money. Having parts come back and having to add a greater staff in order to rework, and on top of that, having to resend it out, put new product into the product that you already made. It costs a lot of money, and you're not doing it on the dime of the person who's buying it, because you already messed up. You don't want to lose their business. So defects are a loss of time in production, which is why we do a lot of quality assurance to assure that this doesn't happen. So to wrap it up, traditional versus lean is, as you can see, the old way of thinking was we have an inconsistent process with inconsistent results. But people doing whatever they can, if it works, then it's okay. But with the lean theory, we have a consistent process, we have the desired results. So we standardize the process so we get results that are efficient, and we get results that will constantly come out at the same time in order to keep our customer happy. So that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for coming. We're going to give out a quiz and a survey now.